So New Glarus is kind of the Wisconsin brewery. I worked with somebody who had family in Wisconsin and would go back. Hang on. Taz, no wine. Taz, go lay down.
Welcome to another edition of Drinking with Craig and Roger. I'm Roger.
And I'm Craig. We are doing something new for the channel today. I've seen other people do it, but every other YouTube channel that has to do with alcohol essentially covers one thing. They just do wine, or they just do beer, or they just do bourbon. But we are more widespread, appreciators within the realm of adult beverages. And we actually have no whiskey to show you today. It's primarily going to be beer and wine, but these are the things that we've collectively finished at home and saved over the last, say, month and a half, something like that. And we haven't really talked about this. We're just going to take turns showing you stuff that we've had and talk a little bit about it in case you want to check it out. And maybe there'll be something that you find a little bit of interest in and want to check out for yourself. So, Roger, kick it off.
Well, one thing that I actually drink quite a bit of is Sweetwater.
Okay, all right, let's bring these puppies out here. Yep.
There's an IPA, there's a Gone Trippin' IPA,
West Coast style.
there's a Tropical IPA, and then 420 is not really an IPA, but it's pretty close.
It's an extra pale ale. This was their flagship beer. So this is an Atlanta-based brewery. It did more recently become basically it was bought out by a much larger corporation. So you should be able to find Sweetwater beers in a lot of other states in the US right now. 420 is the thing that they kind of made their name on. These are brewers that came from the West Coast. I think they came from, I can't remember if it was California or Oregon, those areas, but they brought those style beers over to the South and they kind of took off. Their IPA was another early beer, and now they've branded it Atlanta's OG IPA. Damn good IPA.
Absolutely. And another thing, if you're interested in a good value, okay, you can get these Sweetwater beers, 420 and the IPA, in a suitcase. And you can get a mixed suitcase with all four of them.
How many is that? 18,
That's
24?
24.
24.
And they're 16-ounce cans. And right now you can get it for $29.99.
In your market here in Athens,
yeah. Which
Pretty
is about
damn good.
$1.30 for a bottle or a can of it.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good for that.
Yep.
So if you haven't tried it, I would suggest you go ahead and get some. You won't be disappointed. They're all pretty good beers.
Yeah, I agree. And their tasting room here in Atlanta is pretty cool too. And they really do. Last time I was there, I was surprised how good some of their beers were. My turn. Recently, I took a trip over to Asheville, which I love. I love Asheville, North Carolina. And we went to a brewery that was about an hour out. They have 3 locations, but we went to a location that was an hour outside of Asheville. This is Fonta Flora, and we went to their Whipple Farm location, which was super cool. It's in this big field, and there's a farm there, and you can see their pawpaw fruit and all this other stuff. But they make their beers with a lot of local ingredients and things that they grow themselves. So one of the most interesting ones, the special they had going, was alpha versus beta carotene, which actually it's brewed with water from our wells, 79% local ingredients, and it's a West Coast style IPA fermented with local carrots and dry hopped with Citra, Mosaic, and Talus. So super cool. The carrot flavor doesn't taste like carrots. I think the carrots kind of fill in the body, make it a little more rich and balance out the hops. Super good beer. And I also came away with a Darwin's Forehead, which is a salted brown porter. Delicious. But yeah, definitely check out Fonta Flora if you haven't. I think they do a really good job incorporating unusual ingredients and floral things and all this kind of stuff, but everything is really well integrated, and some of their beers are just kind of beautiful tasting. So Definitely an interesting brewery to check out if you haven't.
Another beer that I drink quite a bit is the Scofflaw Basement IPA.
There's another Atlanta brewery.
Atlanta brewery.
Now, they have not been acquired by a big corporation.
And if you live in the Atlanta area or even around there, you should be able to get this. Kroger carries the 12 packs of it. You could usually put it on sale, so it's like $18.99 for a 12 pack, which is not bad. And it's pretty nice. It's a little juicier than the Sweetwater, but it's pretty nice. So
Okay,
I like
Scofflaw,
it.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Well-known name here in Atlanta. Let's see, sticking with the beer. Oh, I forgot to talk. There's a Fontaflora, so I had those cans, but they do a lot of these sour ales too, Fontaflora. This is an Appalachian wild ale that they did, and boy, it is awesome. There's nothing much I can read about it here, but this was a killer beer, so they do a lot of these. Their beers are not cheap, and I can see why, because they're very crafty and very well made. So, and they are, some of them can get kind of out there, but they're still well balanced. Okay, moving on. Another teeny tiny, why am I even mentioning this? Teeny tiny brewery here in Atlanta that's hard to find outside of the actual brewery. Good Word. They're doing really cool stuff. A lot of English and UK styles. And this just happened to be a West Coast IPA, but really good one, really well balanced. I'm liking what I am seeing from Good Word Brewing. I shouldn't have even mentioned this in this video because so few people will have access to it.
Maybe we'll cut it out.
Forgive me. All right.
All right. If you have the opportunity to join a wine club at a specialized wine shop, like we do in Athens, there's one called Shiraz. The specialized ones tend to buy only from small producers.
Yeah.
So they have stuff that you won't find in Publix or Kroger or any. It's going to be something that's going to be limited availability, and it's always pretty good.
Yeah.
So one of the things I have is this Beaujolais, which of course is a sort of a fresh, not that well aged wine, which is very nice.
Well, yeah, I love Beaujolais. It's a southern France region. The wines they make are all from Gamay. That's the grape. For the most part, and they can run the gamut. A lot of them, they're known for having lighter red, like juicier red wine styles, but there are these Cru Beaujolais, which are, they're designated into their own regions, and they're putting out some killer big red wines. So Beaujolais is one of my favorite regions of wine to check out. Highly recommend you check that out if you're interested in wine.
Okay, and we have Monte Viejo, which is a Portuguese wine. It's a white wine, and it's very, very nice. And I really enjoyed it, and it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, this one is interesting. The Smoke Eater from South Africa, in tribute to the firefighters, and it does have a smoky taste.
Portuguese, so this is a Portuguese white. I haven't actually had a Portuguese white, or very few. I've had a lot of Portuguese reds. Portugal is an area that is super interesting and very good value. Like there are some really, really good wines that just don't have the big prestige and big name. So if you're looking for good value in wine, Portugal is a good place to look at. And actually, South Africa, I haven't explored as much as I should have. So I can't say too much about them, but the ones I have had have been interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Go ahead.
Cool. If we're sticking with wine, let's see. Well, if you watch our channel, you'll know that my wife and I are huge sparkling wine aficionados. And this is a really under the radar. If you can find this, highly, highly recommend if you're into champagne and other sparkling wines. This is a Gruner Veltliner based brut sparkling wine out of Austria, Szigeti. It is made in the traditional method. Here in my market, it cost about $23 a bottle, but I swear it is so interesting. It has a lot of like earthy notes, mushroomy almost, very yeasty. It is up there or better than many $60, $70, $80 champagnes that I've had, and it is awesome. Highly recommend, if you can find this, to check this out, if you're into it.
And if you're wandering around in Sam's Club,
Uh-huh.
I was doing that and I found this stuff. A Solo Prosecco.
Okay,
Which-
Members Mark, Sam's Club brand.
Sam's Club brand. It was less than $10.
Okay.
And we know from our video on Proseccos that they're all made in Italy in the same small area, and
Yep.
they all are
To set of standards.
set of standards. So there's not going to be dramatic difference between them.
Right.
And I'll tell you, it was fine.
Okay.
It was a fine.
It was fine.
It was fine. So
He got the job done.
it got the job done.
Okay. All right, very good. Let's see, some other sparklers that I've had. This one I think is definitely worth checking out. I get this at Trader Joe's. I don't know if they carry it anywhere else. The Ernest Rapinoe champagne. It's actual champagne. It comes in just a shade under $30 a bottle in my market. This is the rosé, the Brut Rosé. We love this stuff because for champagne, you know, typically they're going to start at about $40, usually mid-30s, $40 and up. But what is hard to find are ones that have a lot of that yeasty brioche type of notes that you get from the age on the lees. And this one has quite a bit of those notes. It's a really nice rosé. I think this is, if you're a champagne lover, you definitely should try this for the price. And there's a few more I've got here. Was gifted this bottle of, it's actually from the Francis Ford Coppola winery. This is Sophia. This is their rosé. This was a Blanc de Blanc. This was really nice, very fruit forward. Like, we were pretty surprised. I'm not sure, I think these are usually about 20 bucks-ish and you can get it at the grocery store, something like that. I'm not exactly sure on the price since it was a gift, but it was nice. I would give this a try. And this one is super interesting. We were talking about African. This is a South African sparkling wine made in the traditional method, in the champagne method. Graham Beck, this is their Brut. So South Africa calls their traditional method sparkling wine Cap Classique. So this is a Cap Classique. Awesome, really good, really good. Brut sparkling wine, 53% Chardonnay, 47% Pinot Noir. Definitely recommend you check this out. It's a little different than any of the others you'll find, but pretty well in line and super good.
Well, if you're wandering around Aldi's, you can come up with Hopping Nomad, which is basically a session IPA.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you can drink it, a lot of it if you want. And it's pretty good. Ellen really likes this stuff, you know, but anyway, that's that. Ooh, make some noise. Hey,
Yeah.
and you know,
Oh my God.
there we go.
Yeah.
All right. We all know about Tropicalia. That came in #1 in our IPAs.
Yes.
But it wasn't compared against this.
So Tropicalia, yeah, Sierra Nevada. So Tropicalia has to be one of the most influential beers in recent history. It started here in Athens, and its style, and not just its style with the tropical hop notes and stuff, but also its visual scheme spread far and wide. Many a brewery copied this formula of flavor and packaging, and clearly Sierra Nevada took a couple notes.
Right, and I had never really seen this, but we showed up at a restaurant and they had this on special, so we got a couple of them. And they were
What'd you
fine.
think?
They were good.
Now, how did you think that the Sierra Nevada compared to Tropicalia?
Oh, I think it was pretty close enough for most practical purposes.
That'd be an interesting taste. Tropicalia versus all the imitators that have come since.
Yes, it's like tasting a bunch of dad beers.
It'd probably be a little better. I probably would enjoy it more than the dad beers. Let's see. This is one we just before we filmed today, we went to lunch at this incredible restaurant here in Atlanta called Staple House, and to drink with it, I picked out a chilled red. This is an Italian red, Praha maybe, or Praha probably. Monica.
Yeah. Italian?
Yeah, it's Italian.
Yeah.
And this is, I think it's got to be a natural wine from Italy. It had a ton of sediment in the bottle. It was pretty great. I got to say it was great. It was juicy. It was a little bit earthy and tannic, and it really hit the spot with the Italian grinder and the crazy pizza that we had.
Right, and it's not that old. It was a 2022, so it's
12.5% alcohol, which is somewhat low for a red wine. It was really, really nice. Chilled reds can be awesome in the summer with food, so definitely check those out if you haven't.
And you may not be able to get any of these, but keep these things in mind.
Yeah.
Here's Jack's Abbey Harponius Union,
Okay.
which was pretty nice. And also, here's Hop Chief from the
Firewater Brewing Company.
Yeah, I got these on sale at Westside Bottle Shop. I just got a single of them, and they were
Just
they
to
were
give them a
nice.
try.
Just
Yeah.
to give 'em a try.
Anything to say about them? I mean,
Well,
would you get them again?
oh, absolutely. If I could get them on sale.
Okay, that should tell you what you need to know.
And if you have friends going up to Wisconsin,
Yeah.
they can bring back Kid Kolsch.
And so I think New Glarus is kind of the Wisconsin brewery. I have worked with somebody whose family lived in Wisconsin, would go back and actually bring back some beer from there. They're known most widely, I guess their ubiquitous beer is the Golden Ale that they make, which is great. I can't remember the name of it right now. But she also brought me back a Fat Squirrel Brown Ale. Solid beers, all solid beers. They're great, easy. I mean, how was that one?
It was fine. All three. She brought back three different versions, two of each of three.
Oh, okay.
So we sampled them, and then
Yeah.
Anyway, but they're very fine, and it just says that there are many craft breweries floating around the United States.
Oh, yeah.
That produce pretty good beer. It may not get very far, but they're there. So, as we said in Go to the Source,
Yeah.
if you have a small place like that around, visit them. You'll be surprised at how good their stuff is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's nothing better than fresh beer, But they're kind of noteworthy because they're only sold in Wisconsin, I believe, and they're employee owned, which
Absolutely.
is awesome.
Yes,
So definitely want to support those guys.
absolutely.
And we're getting close to we're rounding out the end here. Let's see. So recently I had a birthday party, and my friend brought these three pretty well-packaged beers from Omnipolo Brewery out of Sweden. These are three essentially dessert beers. So they're all imperial stouts. We had this one, which is barrel-aged imperial marzipan coffee cream stout. It's 14.3% alcohol, which is way up there. These beers are like motor oil, but they were good. My favorite might have been this double barrel aged Anagram Blueberry Cheesecake Stout at 14% alcohol. And then they have a pecan mud cake. So definitely, if you like imperial stouts, check out Omnipolo if you can find them. They're kind of hard to come by, but that was a real treat.
Well, something else that is very popular in Europe but can be found in the United States
Oh, yeah.
is Aperol,
Yeah.
which is a very nice liqueur, and you don't really drink it by itself. You mix it with a sparkling beverage. And my son had a trip to Austria a year ago, and he drank this stuff all the
Aperol
time.
Spritz is what he
So
would
that's
order.
what he did. So he mentioned, and so I found it, and I got one, and we drank it. And
Did you drink
was
it just
fine.
by itself, or did you make an Aperol
We made
Spritz?
it. We made a spritz.
Now,
yeah.
what makes a Spritz?
Well, you have to put something in it that's carbonated.
Sparkling
Generally,
water
yeah,
or Prosecco? Or?
Yeah, well, Prosecco is better than water,
yeah.
but yeah, something like that in it, and you can add a little bit of fruit flavor to it if you want to. There's a official recipe which I can't read, but anything like that will work with
Yeah.
it. So
What
we're
is
good.
the flavor of Aperol?
It's
fruit?
sort of a fruit flavor.
Bitter fruit?
Bitter fruit, yeah.
I've heard it's very refreshing, but I have not had a proper Aperol Spritz myself yet. But apparently my brother ordered 1,000 of them while he was there.
Yes.
So anyway, well, that's it. We did it. We ran through all these suckers.
And
Yeah.
if you like what we're doing,
Yeah.
please like and subscribe. It helps us grow. If
Yeah.
you have ideas about something you would like to see us sample or talk about or whatever, let us know and we'll respond when we can.
Yeah.
Otherwise, cheers.
Cheers.